Today we have a ribbon cutting event at this building and also a grand opening on the field. And our ribbon cutting event for this building was more or less a brainchild of Steve Keir. So we had talked to Steve about helping us with the complex, and he said, you know what? I'd love to. I think that's perfect, exactly what our community needs. And, you know, we had something work really well at Christian Heritage Church. And we used a consortium of contractors to help build this church. He said, I'd love to get with my friends and see if we can't find something a way to work together. And so with that, we put together a strong consortium of contractors. I'm going to turn it over to Ken Crawford with Ogden City Schools. Ken was, for the school district, over the project during the entirety. And it took us, I think, about 18 months from beginning to end. And so Ken's going to talk a little bit about the contractors here that we've put together. And then we'll also be giving some awards out and plaques out to the contractors that were here. So we had somewhere around 56 contractors who donated to this project. The total donation from these 56 contractors is about $250,000 on this building. So half of it we paid for and about half of it was given. So Ken is Director of Athletics and Support Services at Ogden City Schools. So Ken Crawford.
Thank you, Derek. We've had a lot of individuals that have put a lot of sweat, effort, time, money, resources into this project. And isn't this an amazing facility? This is your facility. You guys helped build this, so thank you so much. So we're here to recognize the consortium that helped put this together, and so you have several individuals up here that were key instruments in making this happen. And so what I'm going to do is I want to introduce each of them, and then what we're going to have them do is come up, and they have some contractors and subcontractors that they work with that they brought on board, and so we're going to have them come up, maybe talk a little bit about those that they brought on board and recognize them, and then we'll have the small plaques given to them. So first off, we had J. Brad Florence with J. Brad Florence Construction right here. Give him a big hand. So Brad took on the role of being the superintendent on this project, and you can imagine it's difficult as it is to get a construction project done and get it done on time. You can imagine when all of the materials and labor are volunteers, and so I'm sure it added several gray hairs, maybe even lost a few, but we sure appreciate him sticking with this and making this happen. Steve Keir with Keir Construction. Give him a big hand. And Derek has talked a lot about what Steve has done in helping to organize this and get us going there. We have Slade Opikins from R&O Construction. We've got Ron Davies with Wadman Construction. And then another individual who spent a lot of his own time getting this together, and the reason we have lights in the bathroom today is because of his efforts, and that's Kelly Kennedy right here with the Ogden Weber ATC. So what we'll do is we'll kind of go in that order. We'll go Brad and Steve, Slade, Ron, and Kelly to come up one at a time and recognize those groups that were involved in this project that they helped bring on. So Brad will turn time over to you.
Well, thank you. It's a good day to finally be standing on some solid ground that's not wet or windy. And I'll tell you, since the start, I don't know if many of you remember what this was before, but it was a dump. And so when Derek called and said, we're thinking of putting a soccer field here, and we pulled up, we had a backstop that was sitting here that was half up and half down, and the rest was kind of a dump. So to see the transformation in the ground has just been amazing. And what we've gone through to get to this point has just been incredible. To see the subcontractors, the contractors, when we all signed on for this, it was kind of a slow time. And now I think it's as busy now as we've seen in the last 10 or 15 years. And so it's been really quite a compliment to see the evolution of this move along. Like I say, today's a good day. Watching play soccer out here on the field. You know, years ago, as my daughters came through the soccer programs, Ogden was always kind of a black eye. We didn't have the soccer facilities that even Layton had. So when we had competitive teams, we always had to move elsewhere to play. And when we hit high school, I remember the first time that one of my daughters played on real turf field in a high school playoff game. It was a shell shock. It was a whole different surface to play on. And at that point, you really realized how out of the loop Ogden was, because we were at a huge disadvantage against all these other schools. And so when Derek called and asked and kind of told me what the concept was, I thought we couldn't have a better facility for Ogden. And what a compliment to see where we've come to. I think not only for soccer, but kids in general, it'll be a great facility for years to come. But I had a few contractors I wanted to recognize. The first one would have been Spears Plumbing. And is anybody here? Steve, are you here? Am I missing you? Spears Plumbing. Anyway, Spears. After we begged and pleaded, that was one of the biggest trades to come and what they were required to do. So it was really nice of Spears Plumbing to step up and help us out. The other one, S&N, Zach. Do we have a plaque, or will we give it to him later? Okay. This is S&N. S&N did the sign for us. You can see here. Again, as this evolved, so did the concept, and they stepped up, and we've really got a great entrance into this facility. But Hogan is Kyle here? I didn't see Kyle. Kyle, are you here? Hogan and Associates, Hogan Construction, when they came in and did all of the groundwork for us. They did the footings, the foundation. They supplied a big chunk of the concrete for us, and that was a tough stage for them, and they were quite busy at the time. And so for them to step up and help us out like they did, we really appreciate it. And then the other one, let's see, Halverson. Blair, are you here? Boy, did he not? Okay, Halverson Mechanical, they were the HVAC. They did all of the heating and air for us. And really to take a facility like this and be able to make it usable in the winter or late fall and early spring where things are cold and make it usable, it really, again, it evolved into really being a great project. And so this facility here is usable year round. And not many facilities you go to like this, you'll see that. But between those guys, I really think that on that end of it, we need to give them all a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Okay, Steve, you're up next.
Thanks, Ken. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Spence Eccles Ogden City Sports Complex Committee on the job that they've done. This is simply unbelievable. You guys have been consistent, and you've stuck to your values, you've stuck to the project, and here you are. It's what an amazing project. And secondly, I'd like to thank you, my brother Scott and I, and the rest of the Keir family. would like to thank you for the opportunity to be involved in such an amazing project. The moment I was contacted by Derek and Brad, Danette and Ken to be involved in the project, I knew that we wanted in. And I also thought, well, this is a great opportunity to work with my good friends in the industry, like Slade Opikins with R&O, and Dave Wadman and Ron with Wadman Corp, and Brad Florence, and my good friend and fellow lacrosse coach, Kelly Kennedy. With that said, I'd like to recognize and commend a few of the contractors that we brought to the project. Starting with Red Roofing, who donated all the materials and labor for Red Roofing, is Kyle Red here. Well, Red, again, donated the roofing. It was a big part of the project, and we appreciate them very much. Secondly, Staker Parsons has committed up to 100 yards of concrete or an equal amount of any product that we want. And the way I understand it, Brad, we haven't done that yet, but there's plenty still yet to do. So we appreciate Staker Parsons. I contacted Ron Hadley, and he jumped right in, did not hesitate at all. He wanted to be part of the project immediately. Standard Drywall, Mike Stewart, who does a lot of work for all the contractors up here. He donated all the drywall materials. Is Rick Blount here? Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Lastly, my good friend, Rich Comby. Rich donated hundreds and hundreds of hours to do all the landscaping around the fields and around the concession stands. And he is also a fellow lacrosse coach. The three of us, Kelly and Rich and I, all came to this not just as a contractor, but from the lacrosse community. Rich spent hundreds of hours down here and really put his heart and soul into this project. And as a side note, Bonneville High plays at 7:30 tonight in the second round of the state playoffs. That's the quarterfinals tonight at 7:30 on Field 2 against East High. The head coach, Chase Hanchett, unfortunately had to leave town, and Rich Comby was voted in by the board of directors of Bonneville Lacrosse as the standing head coach tonight. So congratulations, Rich. Is Rich not here? Yeah, he's prepping for the game. He must be with the team. Okay, thanks again for this opportunity.
Well, at least it's the hottest day of the year, so we can sit in the sun. You know, last week we would have been sitting here with coats on, freezing. And 2 years ago, every sub and general contractor would have been here because we didn't have anything else to do. So I appreciate all those who are here and who aren't here because I know they're working hard on projects. Fortunately, the economy changed and everybody's, for the most part, pretty busy. How did R&O get involved? You know, I don't exactly remember, other than I do remember, I believe, a phone call from Steve Keir here. And when this young man calls, there's nothing I wouldn't do. That is the respect in the industry and for him and his family that I have. So to Scott and the whole Keir family and these other gentlemen I've had a lot of opportunity to work with and compete against, and it's good competition. A few subcontractors we'd like to thank who added to this project. I don't know, is Jim or Cy with Ogden Art Metal here today? Or are they working also? If we don't see them, I'm just going to take all their words and hang them in my office. That's what I do, take credit for everything. Ron Peterson Construction, do they have a representative here? Right here, okay. Thank you very much. They did all the framing. And I'm sure Ron himself is still just working at the office. He didn't leave early today. No, I know better. I talked to him. I think he's fishing. Bowman and Kemp, Jeff Kemp over here. Thank you very much to Bowman and Kemp. Always a strong community supporter and great guys. And again, I don't know if Jeff or Ace Fabrication, if they have anyone here. Just again, thank them, and maybe I might be out of line in asking this, but maybe at the end, all those who did show up, we can get a little photo with everybody at the same time. It'd be good. So we have a second. Brewer, can you close on? You good? There you go, Ron.
Thank you. When I was young, soccer was a guy named Pele who could roll up on his shoulders and do a bicycle kick. Does everybody remember that? That's all I knew about soccer as a kid. Since that time, soccer has become bigger and better in the entire world. It's become bigger and better in the United States. It's become bigger and better in Salt Lake City, Utah, and the whole state of Utah, and now it's bigger and better in Ogden. And this is the facility that made it that way. Thank you. Hey, the subcontractors I'd like to thank, first of all, is Rocky Mountain Masonry. Anybody here from Rocky Mountain? Again, busy, going on, doing great things for others, I'm sure, okay? One of the unsung heroes of a construction site is the testing agency. They got to be on site to make sure everything is built correctly and will hold the loads that are asked for. Abe Martinez with Intermountain Testing. Is Abe here? Anybody from Intermountain? Okay. We'd like to thank them. BMC West. Anybody from BMC West? Come on up. Appreciate your help and your contribution to the project. BMC's active always in Ogden City. Last one I'd like to thank is Automated Trust. Dave, Barry, and Mark, come on up. Yeah, they're busy. Yeah, trusses are how many weeks out now? There you go. Anyway, we appreciate the opportunity to be here and to recognize those who are important in the project, and for Wadman Corporation being invited to be a part of this. Thank you.
If I may, Rich Comby, you missed, I talked about you for 5 minutes and you weren't even here. Oh, that's why you stayed away. Rich, we appreciate everything you did for this facility. Thank you very much. And by the way, they all know that you're the standing head coach for Bonneville's varsity team tonight in the playoff game. So good luck.
Okay, and then our last one, Kelly Kennedy with Ogden Weber ATC.
Hello, everyone. I jumped on board on this project for a couple of reasons. I'm not a contractor. I'm a electrical instructor down at the Tech College, Ogden Weber Tech College. One of them was to get the kids involved, to enhance the education we have down there in the trades. It's always a real good idea to get the kids out and actually get their elbows dirty and let them work with the tools and that kind of thing. And this was a perfect project for that. And so I did. The only thing I didn't really prepare for is how much time it would take. This was a big concession stand. I was expecting something a little bit smaller, but it worked out, and we started last fall and in the cold, and I had kids right out here with me getting wet and dirty and asking myself, why the heck did I do this? But anyway, I got to give a shout out to my manager at the Tech College. He afforded us a lot of time, a lot of flexibility to bring the kids out, and I appreciate that. It's been a real nice project, and second of all, I've been in coaching and directing for the last 15 years, and to me this was a no-brainer to get us such nice fields in Ogden City. We've just never had this kind of facility, and I just think that it's about time. I really do, and I hope it means a lot to you guys, and hope everybody uses it. It's a real nice facility. I got to give a shout out to Pioneer Doors. We got a representative with Pioneer Doors out here. Anybody? Okay. I wanted to recognize a good friend of mine who helped me out quite a bit, and That's Pete Favero with Royal Wholesale Electric. They stepped up huge on this whole thing and gave us some fabulous prices. In fact, profit wasn't even a part of the margin, and Pete himself put in a lot of extra time for me to help me get the material out here and get this done expeditiously as we could. So I appreciate that, Pete, very much. Pete? The last group that I would like to give a shout out to is the maintenance crew. I've got to know these guys, and Devin Smith, that man out there just does everything. And with a smile on his face, the good-natured attitude, I appreciate that, Devin. I appreciate the breakfast you give me and the dinners you gave me and the sleeping bag that I used many nights. Thank you all, appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, each of you, and what you've done to make this building such a success. So currently, just to give you a sports update, it's 2-0 still in favor of Ogden High. So after we're going to do the ribbon cutting in just a minute. We'll have a couple of individuals, and we've got these massive, giant scissors for the ribbon cutting. And then we will move on over to watch the end of the game and cheer on Ogden High. Win, and if and when they win, they will be the Region 5 champions and will be a #1 seed for the state tournament next week, which means that we would host next week, so we could have possibly 2 more games on this amazing facility. So we will do that, and then we'll grab the chairs and everything. We'll move it over there. After the game is finished, then we will have the grand opening ceremony, and we will have individuals such as Mayor Caldwell and Spence Eccles and Dean Hurst and other individuals that will be sharing some thoughts with us out on the field after the varsity game is over. So we'd like to turn this back over to Derek, and we will get the ribbon cutting going.
All right, so we're going to see how we can get this group of contractors to cut this ribbon. We think they all have workers, so I don't know if they can figure it out. But we want to get a picture with all 6 of you guys cutting the entrance to the building. So who has the camera? Is Zach Williams here? Okay. So what's going to be the best way, Zach? We want to snap a photo with these guys cutting the ribbon. So